Take one.
Take one.
Just me. So a couple years ago, I spent some time in Switzerland at a place called L'Abri, and it was like a study center where you worked half the day to earn your keep, and then the other half of the day you studied. And one of the things that we had there was called formal lunches. You didn't wear a prom dress or anything, but they just had that title. And we would get together, and you could bring up any topic that you were studying or just thinking about. And these are two of my good friends from L'Abri. This is Jenny and Aaron, and they're here visiting me, and so I roped them into helping me with my work. I asked them to be thinking about topics pertaining to my work. We have not discussed what they've been thinking about, but we're just going to try and recreate the formal lunch. So, and go.
Because this is like jumping into it.
Are you going to start crying?
Huh?
Are you going to start crying?
Okay, hold on me. As women who are not married and live within community with men, how do we love the men in our lives the best?
The men that we're friends with?
The men we're friends with.
Well, I would just say, I think by understanding this area of what men need and is it different from what women need. So I think taking the time to ask men how they feel loved or even respected, something that I don't think we talk about very often. I think being comfortable enough to hearing an answer that might be different than what makes us feel loved, and then trying to act upon that within healthy boundaries.
Yeah, my question about that was, what would healthy boundaries look like in a community of women and men? And to have those kinds of conversations, but to do it in such a way that wasn't leading somebody on or giving somebody ideas that you don't want to communicate.
Yeah.
What do you?
Well, I think, praying for discernment and praying for guidance in that. Like if you sense that there's something where that friendship, they might like you or whatever, I think I'd be careful about talking to them about stuff solely alone. But I think for the most part, you have to gauge your relationship and your friendship. And if you're unsure about that, then ask your other friends. Be like, but most of the time I think these things can happen, one of my least favorite words, organically. When you're just out with friends and you bring up, people love to talk about relationships. I mean, that's the one thing I love about my job is when people find out what I do, it gives me a leeway to just go, oh, are you dating someone, or tell me about your last relationship. And for the most part, people are pretty comfortable talking about that. They enjoy it because it's what most of human nature wants and desires, is to be in relationship, whatever level that is on. So people are usually pretty comfortable to talk about it.
I wonder if that's maybe might be unique to you, because people know that that's your line of work. And I feel like if I was to get in a conversation like that with a single guy in my community, it might not turn out the same as it would for you.
Well, I think her original question was, I was just giving the example that yes, I love my job because it does open that door, but I think we sometimes are nervous to ask people questions because we don't want to offend anyone. What I'm saying is that I think people are more apt to not be offended than we think that they would be. That can be a really natural conversation. You're in a group of people and just asking everybody, men and women at once, just bringing up topics like this form of formal lunch that we would do. It's like people want to talk. People want to be asked questions about their opinion. I find, when I'm in any social setting and I feel uncomfortable or nervous, if you simply ask someone a question, people are hungry to be known. So
I feel like that's a common complaint here is we're so good at talking about things, and we're so good at being vulnerable and men and women talking about things, but actions don't really follow sometimes, or women are frustrated by men's lack of acting and following conversation up with actions. And so are we creating kind of this atmosphere where we're encouraging men not to move or not to act?
Whoa there, Aaron. To answer that question, we'll have to wait for part 2 of Formal Lunch, where Walter also makes his glorious return to give the ladies a male perspective.
Oh, hey, Walter, you gotta get out of the shot. Oh, no, you're later. Go.
But it turns out that they weren't ready for his jelly.
Walter!
Get it! Walter.
No, please don't knock over the candle on the microphone. There's not a microphone under here. It's an illusion, Michael.